Welcome to Weston, West Virginia. Welcome back, I suppose. Second video. Um, this is West in the Woods, Heavy Breathers Hour. I'm out here on one of my favorite hikes. This is the Moon Rocks and Hoodie Rocks Loop really on Camp 70 Road, right outside of Davis. Not quite Canaan Valley, but might as well say Canaan Valley. And all I can think about is how nice it would be to have a Hellbender's burrito when I'm done here today. I've been thinking about this a bunch. Well, not really a bunch, but a nice little wind. It's beautiful up here. This is kind of the peak of the whole hike. Crazy geologic feature here, Hoodoo Rocks. But yeah, ever since this winter, winter, kind of March, April, when Hellbenders kind of abruptly announced their closing, this rant has been stirring in my head. And, I'm sympathetic in ways to the business owners and the entrepreneur, whoever. I don't really know the person. But I definitely fell in love with the restaurant in the last year of them being open. I've lived in West Virginia my whole life and never really had a place where I felt like the culture of an area was so well represented. And when they sort of abruptly closed there, it was a shot in the heart. I felt like that was a restaurant that really brought something culturally to this whole area of Tucker County and Davis and Canaan Valley and Thomas and the whole area. It was, in my opinion, one of the main non-natural beauty draws to this area was people just going to Hellbenders and getting a burrito and a beer and chips. It was a really really cool place that I discovered late in its existence. And I don't quite understand the closing. From a guy on the outside looking in that has always envied entrepreneurs and businesses that were able to make it work in West Virginia, it's crazy to me to see a place be like, and this is a vast oversimplification, obviously, but they, in my opinion, they kind of said, hey, we're too successful. We're closing our doors because, the success is overwhelming and there's a line out our door every weekend. And while I get that, like, work-life balance is really important and it's probably all consuming for small entrepreneurs that get crazy successful, from the outside looking in, you want to say, big gunshot. You want to say, like, hire a general manager. I don't know. Pass the torch to somebody that is an impressive worker in your organization. There were at least 3 girls that worked the counter at Hellbenders that I think could have run that place great. And I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Obviously, it sounds stupid to be like doing an in memoriam of a restaurant, but I feel like that place really added to this area. An area that is already, just barely not a food desert. There's a grocery store and a Dollar General and a couple other restaurants there in Davis. But I would say none of them were serving the number of people or kind of the takeout community or had the cultural impact of Hellbenders. I don't know. This sounds stupid now that I'm doing it, but it's crazy as a person that would love to have a business that was that successful, to see someone say, hey, the success is overwhelming, we're closing our doors. To me, it would make a lot more sense to say, hey, the success is overwhelming, so I, the owner or whatever, am stepping away and appointing one of my best employees to run this place day to day. And the flies are a little overwhelming on this trail today. I don't know. It's something to ponder, for sure. The downtown Main Street in Davis feels empty, as hilarious as that is. It feels empty without Hellbender Burritos there. And it's kind of disappointing to me. Because, okay, so I'll share a anecdote. I was there in the restaurant 3 weeks before the announcement of closing. And I overheard I definitely eavesdropped on a conversation between the guy that I presume is the owner and a gentleman that looked like, I presume again, was somebody from out of town that was interested in the business or had heard about it being potentially for sale or something like that. And I overheard the numbers, roundabout. This has been 6-8 months now, or 6 months. I heard numbers 600,000 or so, 650,000, and I heard the numbers 300,000, 350,000. And one was for the building and one was for the business. And, I don't know which number was with which thing, whether it was 600,000 for the business and 300,000 for the building or vice versa. But, there, I got one. That's the first fly I've gotten over that motherfucker. I would have never thought that conversation I eavesdropped on would foretell them just closing their doors. I could totally understand them selling the business to somebody or, wanting out and passing the torch to someone. But for them to close I'd never imagined that. And I think myself and a lot of other people that came to love that place were really disappointed and shocked and wished we were given a chance to go and get it one last time or a couple last times, have a farewell weekend or something like that. I don't know. It's easy to sit here and armchair quarterback a small business, but I'm from Fairmont, and imagine someone saying, imagine the Arcures saying, oh, Dairy Cream Corner is so successful, we're burnt out and we're closing our doors. Or imagine the owners of Mario's Fishbowl in Morgantown being like, hey, we sold way too much beer this year and we're burnt out, so we're closing immediately. That's how it was immediate. They made a Facebook post saying, hey, we're unexpectedly not open this Sunday. And then I think it was the day after, on Monday, when the Facebook post came out saying they were closing permanently. Or indefinitely, I think is the word they use. So, I don't know. That's my little rant for the day. Like, you know, what a business does, what a business owner would do when faced with overwhelming success and they wanted to step away, you would hand the business off to somebody else. And if you want to make the principled argument that, oh, they don't trust it to, whatever, be run by whoever buys it, so they want to preserve the memory of it and just close their doors. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't appoint a GM, one of your best employees, and step away slowly. Train them into it, still own the business, and step away slowly. That just doesn't make sense to me. I think about the last line of the Facebook post where I think about this a lot. The last line of the Facebook post where they announced their closing and said, "See you on the trails." Well, I'm out here on the trails, and I would love to ask somebody these questions because it does not make sense to me. Doesn't make a lot of sense. That's all. It's a stupid little rant, but I think it's one that a lot of people would agree with. That place was a cultural institution that a lot of people in the state, are drawn to this area because of the natural beauty. But that was like the icing on the cake. Like today. Today's the perfect example. I escaped to come down here and get some time in the woods and go on one of my favorite hikes. And the icing on the cake would be getting takeout and taking it back home for myself and my family. And that's not an option anymore because they were too successful. And that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Excuse my language. But, let the wind die down a little bit. Let me know what you think. I'm curious what everybody's opinion is on this. Do you think, you shouldn't have to have reasons to do what you want to do with your own business? Which I agree with that too. You shouldn't have to have reasons. But there becomes an influx point where your business becomes bigger than the person. And I feel like once you start to have that real cultural impact on an area that has very little access to restaurants and food options as is, it becomes a little bit more of a thing than just that entrepreneur wanting to take a step away. And to close your doors and try to get $1 million out of that place instead of keeping it open, appointing a GM that isn't you, training that GM, and still, you can still have the business on the market, but leave the doors open. That happens every day. And if anything, the business has lost value this year, in my opinion. I might be completely wrong because I've never sold a business. But in my opinion, it will have, if there is ever a buyer for the price that they want, it will have lost value by that point because, there's 100,000 people that have wanted to go over this year and haven't been able to. So, I don't know. Like I said, this is just my rant in the woods that I've been thinking about today on my hike. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you don't mind, if you've made it this far watching this video, hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to start a little channel here that is based on local issues and stuff that pertains to people that love West Virginia. And hit me up with a subscribe and wait for video number 3. Hopefully you won't have to wait 4 weeks for that one. But we'll see how long it takes me to get motivated again. But anyways, thanks. Have a great day. Have a great day. Long weekend.